On this episode of Our Mountains, Rhonda sits down with the very talented Jimmy Rose, and he might just sing a song for us.
And we'll take you to a farm in Clay County that is incorporating modern science with traditional mountain farming techniques to produce some of the best tasting food in the whole world.
All of this and more are coming up on Our Mountains. Welcome to Our Mountains. I'm Rhonda Brashear.
I'm Dean Osborne.
And I'm Joel Brashear. And today we're going to start off, I don't know if you guys saw this. Back in the summer there was an article written by the New York Times called What's Wrong with Eastern Kentucky? And it came out at the end of June, and I remember reading it. And they used several different indicators and found that of the 10 worst places to live in the United States, 6 of them are in Eastern Kentucky.
I read it. I did read it. Yeah. It's not surprising. It's eye-opening in a way, but it's not surprising. There are shortcomings to living here in Eastern Kentucky, but there's so much more. It's hard to see those problems in black and white. We see them every day, but when it's actually written on paper, it makes you take notice, and I hope that this will just cause all of us to open our eyes and be more helpful to overcome these problems.
Well, you know, along with those problems, we have some solutions that are being developed. One of the greatest initiatives, I think, in the history of Eastern Kentucky is the SOAR initiative, and it was developed solely to answer these problems and dilemmas specifically and to do something about them.
And also the Promise Zone, that's another very promising organization, and we hope to see good things out of SOAR and the Promise Zone.
Well, speaking of people taking some initiative and trying to do something, you guys might remember Jonathan Gay. He was a guest on our pilot episode. He's been working on a project called East Kentucky Helping Ourselves. And this is a direct rebuttal to that New York Times article. And Jonathan identified 6 entrepreneurs, each one working in those 6 counties that were identified by the New York Times. And these folks are really going out of their way. They're positive success stories, and we're going to go to each of them and share their stories with you. We're going to start with Will Bowling. He is a farmer in Clay County, and they're doing some amazing things over there. So let's take a look at that.
When we came down here, we really didn't know anything about commercial farming or farm for profit. I mean, we'd always raised a garden and kept some chickens, even kept a few milk goats when I was growing up. But we'd certainly never tried to farm for a living.
For the past 10 years, Will Bowling and his family have planted themselves here at the Old Homeplace Farm, and the results have been outstanding.
Grass-fed meat, grass-fed beef, pastured pork, pastured chicken. Also run some goats and pastured lamb, and I also do vegetables. We do sell whole animals to some folks, but really the way that most of our product goes out is through, on the meat side of things, is through our meat CSA, which folks sign up for a monthly meat package. We have them ranging from 8 pounds a month all the way up to 20 pounds a month. And then one time a month we meet in different areas. So right now we meet in London, Manchester, Hyden, and Hazard one day a month and bring folks their bundle of meat.
And this past year saw the Old Homeplace Farm expand their operations to include produce as well as their top quality meats.
We're calling it the Vegetable Buying Club. It's essentially an online farmer's market. When we started, we didn't have, which we've only been going a year, but there wasn't a real well-established farmer's market real close by to us, so we decided to put the farmer's market online. So we have a website, oldhomeplacefarm.com, and each week we update the online store with what vegetables we have available that week. And we're also in a couple of area restaurants. The Manchester Memorial Hospital has been serving some of the stuff in the cafeteria line, but also the Treehouse Cafe and Bakery in Hazard and Thursey's Diner in Manchester. And to us, that's great. I mean, it's really good for us to be able to work with local folks, with other locally owned businesses, and provide them with a locally grown product, something that we're happy to provide and something that we can stand behind. And always happy to work with them to try to get the word out for their business as well. It really does seem to be a win-win situation.
And now they're using the internet market to sell their meats as well.
Took 5 pigs into the processor last week, and a couple of those pigs are earmarked just for our web sales. It's sold over a website technically, but everything's staying within a stone's throw of the farm here pretty much.
And while Will knows our region isn't perfect, he still has a lot of hope for the future.
True, we do have challenges and issues that need to be addressed, but those are things that we can take care of within the region. I mean, those are things that we should be addressing ourselves and taking care of within our own communities. And that's really the only way that things are going to get better, is if we work on within our own communities and try to make things better. So no, I obviously don't think the region's a bad place to live. I think it has a lot more opportunity than it does challenges. I said we do have some issues that we need to be addressed. There's a lot more opportunity, a ton more potential, both in the land and within the people who are here right now. A ton more potential than there are challenges.
If you'd like to learn more about the Bowling family or the Old Homeplace Farm, check out their website at oldhomeplacefarm.com.
Joel, that was a great story on the Bowling family and what they're doing here in Eastern Kentucky. Me and my family are proud customers of them. Incidentally, we've been enjoying their food for several years and plan to for many more. We're coming to you from the lobby of the auditorium at HCTC's Kentucky School of Bluegrass and Traditional Music here at the Leslie County Center. When we come back from the break, Rhonda recently traveled to the historic Bell Theater in Pineville to visit with Eastern Kentucky's own Jimmy Rose. You folks won't want to miss it, so stick around. We'll be right back.
Frontier Nursing University, celebrating 75 years as pioneers for healthcare. Our mission is to educate nurse midwives and nurse practitioners to serve women and families. Learn more about Frontier Nursing University. Visit frontier.edu.
Welcome to our mountains. I'm Rhonda Brashear, and I'm in downtown Pineville, Kentucky in the beautiful Bell Theater. It's a gorgeous venue. And with me today, we are so pleased to announce Jimmy Rose is our guest today. Jimmy, thank you so much for being with us today on our mountains.
Well, you're welcome. It's an honor, and thanks for coming to our little town.
Well, we've looked forward to this for a long time. We really have.
We're excited. This little town's small. If you blink your eye and you go by, you'll miss it. But we got a lot of pride here and a lot of history here.
How did you get into music? What interested you?
Well, you know, growing up, just like every little small town, country family, country home, Mom had us in church, and there was an opportunity. She would ask me to get up and sing with her from time to time, and you know, just kind of one of those ways to expose yourself to an audience, to a crowd, and sing and rejoice and sing for the Lord. And it just kind of trickled from there. I never did pick the guitar up, though, until I joined the military, or even started writing songs. I was away from home, away from friends, family, and I was on ship in the middle of the Pacific, and there's a boy from West Virginia, one of my Marines, his name's Jason Boland. He brought a guitar on ship and showed me a few chords, and it just kind of took off. Took off from there. I always loved to sing, and I always loved to get up and sing karaoke and things like that. And in the room with the guys, you know, just loved to sing and to entertain, but it never did write music until I put the guitar in my hand and made that connection, that physical connection. And it's just been like a snowball effect from that. Wow.
Now, we all got acquainted with you last year on America's Got Talent. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, last year was it was a whirlwind for us all, you know, for this little town. It wasn't all about Jimmy Rose. It was, I'm a reflection of this area, and it showed. This town stood behind me, this community stood behind me, the people. You know, Cold Keeps the Lights On was my first audition. And, you know, and within 2 hours, that song had over 28 million tweets worldwide. Trended not just nationwide, but worldwide. that's a direct reflection of the coal nation and how strong we are here in Appalachia. America's Got Talent gave me some great opportunities. I got to meet some amazing people, great talent. I played some venues unbelievable to look at. MGM Grand in Las Vegas, the Greek Theater in LA, the Fox in Atlanta. We done a nationwide tour after the show ended. You know, I've seen a lot of places.
What was your favorite place to play?
My favorite place, I'd say, would have to be the Orpheum in Memphis. It's such a historical place. You could feel the history in that theater. You know, Radio City was huge. I called it the Grand Ole Opry of New York, and I've not played the opera yet, but that's to me that would be the ultimate venue to play, because as an artist alone, you know, as a country music artist alone, that's where you want to play.
Right, of course.
America's Got Talent opened a lot of doors for me. I'm grateful to the show.
Right.
A lot of people ask me what was the most memorable moment on the show, and it wasn't Radio City. It wasn't all that. It was my first audition, because that first audition defined who I was. That first audition, the world accepted me, and they accepted me through my original song,
which was Coal Keeps the Lights On. That was my next question. How did you come about writing that song?
That song was inspired and was written for this hometown, the Bobcats and the Mountain Lions, Pineville and Bell County. That's how come when you heard it on the show, it mentions the Bobcats and the Mountain Lions. This area has taken such a direct hit with the war on coal. I've seen a lot of my friends, a lot of my family members, and a lot of their family members suffer from this war, lose their jobs, their homes, repossess their vehicles. You walk to the schools and you talk to the kids, and see what devastation it's done to this area. My daddy was a coal miner, Jimmy. Do you know my daddy? You know my uncle? You know, I know you from that show, America's Got Talent. Your son Coal Keeps the Lights On. And I wrote it for this area because of suffering. I wrote it probably 2.5 years ago. I didn't write it directly to audition with. I auditioned with that song for Texaco Country Showdown several years back, and you know, I wrote that song in support of the miners and the families of the miners and the small towns and the small businesses, the schools, and these people that are losing their way of life, their heritage. It's in our blood, it's in our veins.
Yes, it is.
And
I'm a coal miner's daughter myself, and both grandfathers were coal miners too, so I'm from a long line of coal families. So I understand and feel the same way you do about it.
It's when you take away the coal mining jobs and take away our heritage, it hits us right here.
Yes, it does.
And you know, you were that little girl in that sundress.
That's
and
right.
I worked in the ground almost 2 years, and I've been there. I've done that. I've got coal in my knees and in my lungs. I'm sure I wrote it from experience, but I wrote it out of my heart, because when that song was sung on national television, one of the judges didn't even know what coal was. Yeah. They edited that part, and she asked what was coal, and she didn't get a good response from the crowd, should I say, but she still gave me a standing ovation, and it was because of, it didn't just speak of coal, it spoke of hardship.
Right.
And people, everyone has been there, and at some point in time has experienced hardship. It's real life stuff, it's true. That song is the book opened up, the life of a miner and the families in the small towns, and I wrote that song for us, and now I'm sharing it with the world.
Well, what's next for Jimmy Rose?
Well, today is actually the official release of my Coal Keeps the Lights on iTunes. I have some major decisions being made on my career right now, and I don't know where all this is going. You know, I leave it in God's hands, and I tell that to everybody that I speak to. I acknowledge Him. He gets my talent. He can take it in an instant, and I'm not ashamed to acknowledge Him anywhere I go. But I'm going to always do this, no matter where you see me. I'll be singing and picking and playing and writing. But I have some major decisions being made, and it really depends on those decisions where this goes for me. If it's not through a major label, I'll do this independently as hard as I can go. But I have to be patient and await these decisions. But I've got a lot of music, a lot for the world to hear, and I'm excited.
Jimmy, thank you so much for being with us today. I see you've got your guitar.
I do. It's not just a prop.
All right, folks, when we come back after this break, we're going to have some Jimmy Rose music, so please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Our Mountains is currently looking for area businesses and organizations interested in sponsoring our show. From large corporations to the shop around the corner, any business in Our Mountains will benefit from the exposure gained from advertising on our show, and we have plans to fit any budget. Call Rhonda at 606-521-6493 or send us an email to ourmountainseky@gmail.com for more information or to set up an appointment. Help us celebrate East Kentucky culture and support Our Mountains.
Folks, I know you enjoyed Miss Octavia on one of our previous shows, and she invited us into her home, and she was so gracious and such a wonderful host. We've got another story I know you're going to love, so watch this.
Well, it was way back in a long time ago, and there was this little boy by the name of Johnny. Now, Johnny, he was a type of little feller, if you told him to sit down, he'd stand up. But if you wanted him to stand up, he'd sit down. If you said walk, he'd run. But if you wanted him to run, he'd walk. Well, it was after supper one evening. His mama told him it was bedtime. She said, Johnny, I want you to get up yonder. You get in bed. Don't you get up and don't you be opening up no windows. He's like, all right. As soon as he got in bed and noticed she wasn't coming back up to check on him, he got out of bed. He went over yonder and he opened the window. And outside that window was a woman. And that woman had red, red lips. And she had long, long fingers. And she was looking right in at Johnny. And she said, do you know why I've got red, red lips? And long, long fingers? He said, no! And he slammed the window down, and he ran over and he got in bed and he was shivering and shaking. But he finally went to sleep. Well, the next morning Johnny woke up and, well, the sun was a-shining and the birds were a-singing, and Johnny thought, whoa, must have been those soup beans I had for supper last night. Gave me some gas, made me have some nightmares. And he forgot about it. Well, that night again, his mama told him, said, Johnny, I want you to get up yonder, you get in bed, don't you get up, and don't you be opening up none of those windows. He's like, all right. And again, as soon as he knowed she wasn't coming back, Johnny got up, he went over yonder, and he opened the window. And outside was that woman. And she had red, red lips and long, long fingers. And she was looking right in at Johnny. And she said, do you know why I've got red, red lips and long, long fingers? She said, no! And he slammed the window down, ran over, got in bed, and he was shivering and shaking. But he finally went to sleep. Well, the next morning he woke up, and again, the birds are singing, the sun is shining, and he's like, yeah, those soup beans have lasted a long time, and he forgot about it. Well, that night again, his mama told him, said, Johnny, get up yonder, get in bed, don't you get up, don't you open up no window. And he's like, all right. And again, as soon as he knowed she wasn't coming back, Johnny got up, he went over yonder, he opened the window, and there was nothing there. Johnny said, hey, that's cool. And he left the window open, and he went to bed, and he went to sleep. But way up in the middle of the night, Johnny woke up. He had a feeling there was something in the room with him. But he thought, well, it's just my imagination. You see, he couldn't see anything because he had his eyes shut. Most people do when they're asleep. He thought, if I just open up my eyeballs, I'll see there ain't nothing in here. It is my imagination. So he opened his eyes. And there, at the foot of his bed, was that woman. And she had red, red lips and long, long fingers. And she was looking right at Johnny. And she said, do you know why I've got red, red lips and long, long fingers? He said, no. And he pulled the cover up over his head. And he was shivering and shaking, but the cover started being pulled down little by little, until it lay in a heap at the foot of his bed. And there she was again, right over top of Johnny. And she had red lips and long fingers, and she was looking right at Johnny. And she said, "Do you know why I've got red lips and long fingers?" He said, Why do you got red lips and long fingers?" And she said, "To do this with..." And that's the truth, and that's the end of that story.
Octavia Sexton is a wonderful storyteller. To hear more about her books and her CDs, or to contact her, the information is on the screen. Give her a call. Now, when we come back, we're going to go to the Bell Theater where Jimmy Rose is going to sing for us. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Frontier Nursing University, celebrating 75 years as pioneers for healthcare. Our mission is to educate nurse midwives and nurse practitioners to serve women and families. Learn more about Frontier Nursing University. Visit frontier.edu.
Welcome back to Our Mountains. Right now, back to the historic Bell Theater and one of the great artists in Eastern Kentucky, Jimmy Rose, and Cold Keeps the Lights On. Here's Jimmy.
He pulls in that old Chevy from a second shift. Mama's still sleeping, kids still crashed out on the couch. He goes in through the back door. He don't want to wake 'em up, so he wipes the coal dust off his face and he hits his knees. He says, "Lord, I want to thank you for everything and the strength you give me, make it day by day. Hope keeps the lights on, and my hometown keeps a foot on the spoon in my youngin's mouth. Tars on a truck and the sundress on my baby girl. Hope keeps the bills paid, the clothes on the backs and the shoes on the feet, in the high school halls of the mountain lions and the Bell County Bobcats on the hill. They've went plumb dang crazy in Washington, talking about closing the mines, wanna bleed us all dry from the inside out. They don't care that much about the little man or the calloused hands. It's a way of life around here, just like it's always been. Hope keeps the lights on, and my hometown keeps a foot on the spoon in my youngin's mouth. Keeps the tars on a truck and the sundress on my baby girl. Hope keeps the bills paid, the clothes on the backs and the shoes on the feet, in the high school halls of the mountain lions and the Bell County Bobcats on the hill. If I get a chance to stand one day and name the things to me that I'm most proud of, well, I hope one day I can say, I hope I can always say this right here. That cold kept the lights on, and my hometown kept the food on the spoon in my youngin's mouth. Kept the tars on a truck and the sundress Oh, my baby girl. Cold kept the bills paid, the clothes on the backs and the shoes on the feet, in the high school halls of the mountain lions and the Bell County Bobcats on the hill. Hope I can say the cold kept the lights on. Oh, cold keeps the lights on.
Folks, for more information on Jimmy Rose or to find out where he's playing, you can check out his Facebook page. And you can also get that song you just heard, Cold Keeps the Lights On, from the iTunes store. So go pick that up. Now, we've still got more to come from Our Mountains, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Our Mountains is sponsored by Frontier Nursing University, Pioneers for Healthcare, the Kentucky Bankers Association, More Than Banks, They're Your Neighbors, Creek, bringing our heritage into our future, and by a special gift from Mr. and Mrs. Sunshine.
Well, that just about does it for another episode. We are here in the lobby. You can hear footsteps of students at your school, Dean, and it's always good to see students and staff coming around here.
We've got a great program here for all kinds of general education classes, as well as our Kentucky School of Bluegrass and Traditional Music through Hazard Community and Technical College. We want to thank them for letting us come and film today. And we've sure had some great shows, great stories about Eastern Kentucky. And folks, I'll tell you what, it's not all bad, no matter what you read from the New York Times.
That's right. We have good things going on.
And we got more coming up on Our Mountains. You know, we're working on a lot of good stories. We've got a lot of good guests coming up, a lot of good food, a lot of good music. So, I mean, in the weeks to come, we're excited as we can be.
Yes, we are. And we want you to let us know what you think about this program. We want to get your comments on our Facebook page. Go to facebook.com, Our Mountains EKY. So let us know that. And we also have some things on YouTube. So give us your comments, spread the word. We want everybody in Eastern Kentucky and beyond to hear about Our Mountains.
Now, Dean was telling us something just a few minutes ago about something exciting he was doing.
That's right, Joel. We recently took a group of students from the Kentucky School of Bluegrass Traditional Music to a brand new festival in Wilmore, Kentucky. It's on the site where we had the 10 years of the J.D. Crowe Festival. It's a beautiful ground. It's called Servant's Heart Farm, and the festival is the Kentucky Foxfire Festival. And our students did a great job. We're looking forward to being back there many more years and maybe even doing some filming for the show there.
Great.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, folks, that's going to do it for another Our Mountains, but we'll be right back here next week. Between now and then, shoot us an email, check us out on Facebook or YouTube. Just let us know what you're thinking. And if you like the show, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell somebody. But let them know. Word of mouth is the best way we're going to get the word out on Our Mountains. We don't have much of an advertising budget, you know.
No.
So,
speaking of, if you want to sponsor our show, give me a call.
Telephone numbers on the screen. All right, guys. From all of us here at Our Mountains, all of you at home, we'll see you next time.
See you next week.